Oh, hello and welcome to another video. So we're checking out Portalcraft from Affinity Evolved. They got some pretty nice cards this time around, with Artifact Catapult being able to summon our artifacts, to Flight of Icarus giving our artifacts in hand effects that we can actually recur using those summoned artifacts, and of course the legendary Karula, Eternal Arts. Basically an absolute, but better in most cases. I would say both are extremely good, although I am running him at 2 and Orcust at 1. There is some messing around you can do with running more Orcust, running more of him. I would definitely just mess around with those sort of numbers, see how you go. But otherwise the rest of the deck is pretty standard. You could mess around with dumping, I don't know, maybe a little early game to add the more Orcust. I don't know. It's a tough one. There's a lot of cards that would like to be in this deck that just kind of aren't, that are hard to fit in. One Runica seems to do pretty well too. It's a good source of removal and does generate extra gears as well, which is quite nice, so it's good. And then Ember of Darkness. I'm quite a big fan of this card. Being able to get Can't Be Destroyed by abilities is quite nice when you're playing it off Doomwright or the Artifact Catapult, which I think is quite solid, and she's an okay early game as she does generate a gear the same way Ironheart does. But definitely room to flex her in and out if you don't really feel that effect is benefiting you much. But we're going to get right into it and check it out. Alright, first up here we have Dragoncraft. We start off with a pretty mid-hand, honestly, but we are going second, which does make the Absolute, I call it just Absolute anyway, the Doomwright Ward, live on turn 4. We can generate a little bit of value with this Lovestruck Puppet draw. Going up against some kind of aggro dragon isn't actually the worst outcome for this deck. Although, they could also just be straight up ramp. Ramp and aggro have some overlap, especially with modern decks. Okay, looks like it's more ramp heavy though. If you see that, usually it's ramp instead of aggro at all, so now it's just playing out curve basically. We want to try and get some stuff going, but obviously not having a turn 3 play kind of sucks. But they are just ramping, so it's not the absolute end of the world. We can pretty easily generate value here. We can get ourselves a nice beta artifact, get a little bit of damage in while developing our board, and really just setting ourselves up. I mean, we have double Doomwright Ward back to back, which could be an okay play, and we also have the Doomwright as well, which could be a follow-up before you can get into the Orcust plays later. Yeah, the 5-1 there, not really a problem. A little annoying, honestly, but not really a problem. We're going to get some really good damage in here while further developing our board.
This might hurt.
And it's just more things they have to keep answering, which is good. This game actually goes pretty easily in our favor early on. I mean, Board Swarm is quite good when they're not really answering me. Unfortunately, since they ramp so hard, they do get this, which is kind of annoying. The Neptune has become pretty popular in ramp dragon decks because of its ability to board flood and clear. But since they didn't have Super Evo, it does just kind of sit normally, which is fine. Luckily, Striker Artifact should do a good job of cleaning this up, and we get even more damage in. Putting them very close to our lethal here, with the Orcust coming up next turn. And seeing Gyaru come down pretty much guarantees that Orcust should kill. Shouldn't be too difficult at all to just drop the Orcust, beat over it, and then strike them in the face twice with puppets. Some really good damage.
I lost my strengths and gained a heart. Let down your guard.
And they see Orcust, they concede. Fair game. Alright, following up from that, we have another Portal game. These were played pretty early into my runs.
We have much to discuss.
So Portal on Portal. Artifact Recharge. We did pretty okay with this deck, actually. It was a little over the 50% mark, which I was pretty fine with, considering it's almost an instant lose to Wardhaven. It's very hard to counter that deck. But we start off with a pretty strong early game here. The mirror isn't really something I'm too concerned about, as, you know, it's kind of a little queen flippy. But the deck itself does do pretty well. Like, you're going to see Stream here take out the 3-3 basically perfectly, and we can kind of just coast on that for the rest of this turn by just, you know, developing our artifacts, setting ourselves up. Getting everything we need in hand ready for some bigger turns. They do end up going Puppet Lancer, which is fine. This is more puppet focused, it seems like, instead of the Artifact Mirror.
Change doesn't scare me anymore.
But you never really know. Sometimes you can run both those cards and still be running artifacts. Portal is one of those decks where you just have a lot of variety in some of the deck lists. Although I do feel like that's going to get harder and harder as you add the cards to the deck. And you're like, I really want this card in the deck, but I have to cut these other cards that I was kind of teching in to make room. So we generate a lot of gears here. This actually gets us all the way up to the Masterwork, which is kind of good, considering we have Doomright and Artifact Catapults. That's why, pretty nice portal card, portal puppet card. It really does help the mid game a little bit, which is nice. I actually have to mess around with a portal puppet deck myself. I haven't messed with this deck yet, but I have tried a couple of other decks now, and yeah, I've had middling success with a couple of them. So we just get the clear, we get some damage. It's a little slow, but there's not a lot else we can do. Runica gets to come down and we get to play the other catapult, which is great. We get to use the Runica here to clear the 4/4. Unfortunately, that does guarantee kill something, so it didn't really matter what I attacked with there. I ended up just making the one that gave me the better result, which was the same, so I would rather have potentially kept the 5/1 because it'd be evolvable, unlike the Runica that I already evolved. So now we have the Ralmir. Unfortunately, I did kind of board lock myself a little bit here, which is kind of annoying. Playing double catapult might not have actually been the play. End up going for the Evo because I want to make sure we board wipe here while getting the damage in that we need. Getting them as low as we can before we have to go for lethal. Fortunately, they are spending their first Super Hero here for their Sylvia. Sylvia is actually one of the other cards that I'm not running in this deck, just because like space can be a bit tight, and you have other plays you kind of want to make on turn 6. So I end up going for mostly clear. We go for the clear, we go for the Ironheart in the end. I really just couldn't come up with another way to do this other than super evolving Ironheart without sacrificing a bunch of things that I just didn't really want to sacrifice. But we did get our damage in, which is good. They're down to just 14. Odin coming down, ruining our day as usual. Odin's actually a pretty solid choice in a lot of decks at the moment. No, I haven't messed around with him much myself yet, but there's a couple of decks that really benefit from Odin. Things like Storm, what's it called? Storm Sword and Storm Abyss do pretty well with Odin at the moment. Although Sword has a pretty tight list as well as far as like the amount of cards you can run. So we use the Ralmir to both develop board and clear, which honestly does a pretty good job here. We're just 1 damage off of taking them out, although with that heal now we're a little bit more away, but hey, it's not the end of the world. They do end up making the standard Olivia Evo instead of going for the Super Evo there. But I guess they're trying to save it in case they go for their Orcus play, because they really need damage at this point. I decided to just commit to Masterwork. What do I have to lose here? We're going to get 10 damage in. We have an Aura Ward. Like, they're going to have to answer this now. And if they don't have an answer, then hey, it'd be our win. But unfortunately, Medical Puppet. That does answer me pretty nicely and neatly. Lucky for us, though, Artifact Recharge plus the gears we already have and stuff, even the Striker that we already have, sorry, just straight up make a Beta, and Beta just wins the game.
I won't give up.
Then we have Abyss coming in next. I've seen more Abyss now than I saw during the first expansion, which is not a surprise. Abyss got some okay tools to make its deck a little bit better and more sticky and hard to deal with. Luckily, Portal actually has a pretty okay matchup into Abyss overall, since it stocks a decent amount of board clear in Gamma. So we take that out. We've already developed 3 gears at this point. Not bad for turn 2. We don't really have a lot else going for us though. Like, there's not a lot of plays we can make that'll be crazy good here. But we'll start fusing away these gears. Since we're not running cannon in this build, we don't have to worry about the fact we should hold gears. So fusing them off sometimes is just the better play. And I end up making one of each, a striker and a fortifier, just in case I need either or. Plus, I am going to want to make the Gather at some point. Probably within the next turn when we go for the Evo on the Absolute there. And they're really not doing a lot to me here. They've done 2 damage, but it's really nothing at this point. They're kind of just digging into their deck. Unless the mummy trading there is fine. Fortunately, Doomright Ward, this is going to be an easy clear, especially with Striker Artifact fusing off. Although I do end up just making a beta as well. Since we have more than enough gears here to just make whatever we want. So why not make both? Get ourselves ready for that big Ember play. Plus, these are just really nice bodies to leave on board now. So Sharon, not really what I want to see, but also not really a problem. We do unfortunately want to clear this though, and trying to clear it in an effective way isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world. I probably could have used Eternal Arts there, but I kind of want to save him until next turn when I get my Super Evo, because he can take out 2 things on his own with his double attack along with summoning the artifacts. So fortunately we are going to get the clear here. It is going to cost us our 4 damage instead of going face, but I think that's okay just to keep our board up. And the artifact now cannot be destroyed by effects on it as well, but that doesn't make it exclusive to damage effects. It only is normal destruction effects, which does protect it from its own destruction effect, which is cool. So we can go for that again. We can just bring in another one. We can hit that and do some damage. We don't even need to use the Eternal here. And we can just develop into Masterwork very, very soon. Setting ourselves up nicely to continue the match. Cerberus, though, is going to at least slow us down here. It's definitely a little annoying. They end up just going straight for the healing, which I can't really blame them on. We were putting them pretty nasty into Masterwork range. Cerberus gets the clear, as you'd expect from Cerberus. Very powerful turn 8 card. And Eternal Arts is going to see play now, especially with Evo. I mean, why wouldn't I? And this will give us a full board clear. We are now basically out of any good plays though, so we either need this to stick or we need them to actually attack into this a lot to absorb some damage. And unfortunately, since these are now Banes, that's not going to happen, so we're a little bit behind now on this part. But at least we do have the Doom, so that is going to get us something. So we get a little bit of damage, we get a little bit of healing. Try and keep ourselves out of any dangerous ranges here. They end up going for Dark Angel or Olivia. And then I'm not really sure what they were thinking next here. Because thinking back on this match, I'm pretty sure this is the point where they either DC out basically, or they just pass, which is weird. You should have Super Evos for sure there. I guess they were trying to save their Super Evo, but that's definitely not what you want to do when you're facing down a beta and you're facing down a potential Masterwork. So definitely a weird choice. So overall, I think Artifacts did get a little bit of a power boost, although I don't think it was as substantial as most people were expecting it to be, at least not with current lists and current expectations. Obviously, the meta is constantly shifting, and I'm sure we'll see changes continue on for the next week or so as the meta finally stabilizes out. But for now, I think Puppets is actually probably a better way to go. Looking at some of the results people have had with Puppet Portal, it seems to be doing a little bit better than Artifact overall. Being more consistent and just getting a little bit more mid-game tools in Zwei to really help you get to those Orcus plays. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You can find that in the description below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe while you're down there. And until next time, I'll see you then.